Welcome everyone to this shining episode of Behavior Code. I'm your host, Yogi Chris, PhD. We're at base one here. I think this is my first, this might be my first behavior code in base one. I don't know, maybe last week I was in base one. I don't know, but we're at the new house here in San Jose, 5-bedroom. I got my cottage in the back, but I'm here hijacking one of my roommate's rooms for the Wi-Fi. The tech is just going to keep improving. You're going to see this episode keep improving. Part of what the podcast is a time capsule and a chronology of my evolution. That's what everything is. That's what all the documentation is. And I want to talk about that with my guest today. We got Master Pyro Estienne from Tampa. He's the video god of Tampa, and you should see this man's work on Instagram. You can find him at master_pyro, but the O is a 0. And Here you are, brother. Welcome to the show. How you doing today?
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. It's an honor to be here. Definitely.
Man, you were just telling me before the show. So just a little background. I've known you since February, maybe even December. Actually, I was probably messaging you before that for one reason or another. Probably like Tabiat Messengers. I was probably messaging you about messengers or something, and or just connecting with IMC guys. And at some point, I find myself in Tampa, and there you are. You messaged me beforehand. I think you saw an ad or a post or something.
I saw you was in the St. Pete. Yep.
So we made it happen, and so we ended up meeting up, and it was super dope. And I don't know if we met up twice, but we ended up going to like the Tampa Bay, like a peninsula, which was so fucking weird. Let me tell you, because man, how do I say it? I need to say it anonymously because it's like about a girl. Well, basically, man, I can't. Oh man, in the future I'll tell you this because I may have already said it, but it was just so many synchronicities. And for me, being a guy that traveled all over the country, and Tampa wasn't really a home to me. I just happened to be there, and I happened to be talking to a girl who had a very, very strong memory associated with that place, the exact place where we did our video.
Really?
My next girlfriend was right then.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was a trip. And it was such a good quality video. I mean, it's my, by the way, it's my, if it's not pinned yet, I uploaded it to be my pinned video for my YouTube channel. So it's going to be like
really
my first.
Shit. Yeah, I got to see that.
That's a reminder, actually. I need to do that because I uploaded.
Got to see that. Oh, that's dope.
Okay, so anybody listening, you can go to my 9th World YouTube and see Pyro's work right there. Do you have or you can find him on Instagram. I just gave him a shout out. I want to hear more from you, really. So then you did boot camps. I think from the very beginning, the first Love Spell boot camp.
Yep.
You were already on the Love Spell program for a few months at least, right?
Yep.
At the beginning, like how did you come across AZD?
Shit, I came across him a few years back, actually. The thing is, I was living in Puerto Rico at the time, and in that space of my life, I was very outsourceful when it comes to money. So and one thing about Arash that I learned from him and really early on was just, learning how to find that energy within you to create that and learn how to manifest value. So that's how I got into my videography, actually, is actually hearing that. And that's how I was able to generate enough to start getting on his programs. So that catches me up to Love Spell. As far as with you coming to Tampa, I just so happened to be scrolling on Instagram and I saw you was in St. Pete. And I was like, holy shit, like, what's the chances of this shit? So I was like, let me just hit him up and just see if it's a possibility I can just create some work. And of course, we made it happen. And actually, that place that I took you, I was just there like a week before we had met up. I did a photo shoot out there. When I saw that area, I was like, yo, one day I got to shoot right here for sure. And when you came in town, oh man, it was perfect. It was just lined up perfect for that.
Yeah, it was hella perfect. You captured what I did. I mean, like, it was like, I couldn't have imagined it better. Like
all on the spot,
the postures, the
all
everything.
On the spot.
And you're not even a yogi. So how you did that was something that transcended my activity. It was what I was doing. 100%. So that's a skill in itself. So you did all these events. You've been at like every event online.
Yeah.
You've been at like every single one.
Yeah.
And soon manifesting in person because we're at base one now. So I know you.
100%. Oh yeah.
So you were telling me about results before this.
Yeah.
saying that in this evolution through the summer, so it's like August now. So for like 8 months, 8 to 12 months, you've been like hardcore on the shit. And
Oof,
what is the
yeah.
results? What's happening? First, how do you measure results? Like, what are results to you? What does that mean?
Okay, so the flow of the response I'm getting from life, like I I used to I remember I used to try to chase the opportunity. I try to get into that mindset, but it's to the point now where opportunities are literally meeting me where I am. And it's like it's easier for me to seize the opportunity because they're literally coming to me now. And I feel like because I've established my value so high in my city, the attraction is like a beacon. It's like my value is so high now in the city. It's like it literally just sends out through the city, and now I have that attraction as far as my value in videography and content creating throughout my city.
So you're seeing this in the manifest in like body language or proximity or things from people.
All that networking, most important networking.
Okay.
Just my skills in networking has went through the roof because I'm able to telegraph my energy a whole lot more. I'm able to telegraph how I speak and how to even calibrate to the different environments. Because see, with videography, I'm not just doing any kind of videography. I mean, I am doing every kind of videography. It's not just only music videos or maybe just only promotion. I do anything. So it's like just different worlds that I step into, and to be able to step into you know, somebody that's doing food and they want me to do a video with food, and I'm able to connect with them in that world, then go to somebody that's in the hood doing a music video, and I'm able to connect to them, and I'm able to connect to a corporate to do for their brand. It's like just those different worlds to jump to and actually create results in each one. Is just what stands out to me the most when it comes to results and what I'm getting.
And it seems like you would need not only tremendous amount of skill in, I don't know, handling the camera, video editing, and all that stuff, but an ability to imagine.
Yeah.
What is is that something? It seems
So
like you have to imagine like what you're doing before you do it.
So literally how the best way I can explain it is that I basically have visions literally in the moment. I get into the state of mind where I literally see the end result starting from that point. If it's the way I could really explain it is like, so yeah, so for example, I did a shoot yesterday, and you know, most of the time they're like, yo, whatever you want to do, Master Pyro, like we leave it in your, like nobody ever questions me when I show up to wherever shoot I go to. And literally as I walk through the timeline that I have in my mind of what I want to create, I'm literally creating it in the moment. I'm downloading visions from the imagine, wherever we're imagining stuff from, you know, wherever I'm be able to tap into and get these ideas and these visions. And that's where I get the camera movement from. How I move my camera, how I flow is based on the visions that I get with my work and the vibe that I get. That's why it's important for me to talk to whoever I'm shooting before I shoot. I can still create good results, but to get the best result, I got to have a conversation, because then I'm able to get into the world a little bit more.
Man, and we're going to get into the art of conversation and what you've been studying with the Rosh Bazar. It seems like what you just said with, you know, your movement is based on your imagination. Like you had to see it and then you move with it. It seems like, man, you got to be so in tune with your physical body then to be able to play the music. It's not enough just to hear the music in your head. You got to play it, you know?
Yeah. And sometimes I don't even have a song in mind. It's literally, I see, honestly, I just trust there's like a story in every fragment of time, and I'm see that when I record, and to be able to like nitpick at that and be able to grab it and record it, that's just how I play with it, man. And it's all in the mind how I just function it. I try to find words for it. The more I talk about it, the more I try to find words how I do it. But that's generally the process. It's just it's a whole vision. I literally have a whole vision of what I want to see when I talk to that person, and then I just cut it up into fragments of time throughout the movement of the scene that we're creating or the vibe that we're creating.
Yeah, totally, man. I think I understand. And just, you know, what I did, you know, as a PhD, it was something called systems analysis. So you have to see the whole system and then you compartmentalize it into little pieces that you see how they work together. And so it's like you make a story when you have to graph or diagram a system so someone else understands it. So they're not going to take the whole time to understand the system. They just want to synthesize of it,
Mm-hmm.
symbolized. And so I see kind of how you're doing that, and just like, and you put it in, you know, because I see the end product.
Detail.
Yeah, man. Um, you know, over the summer, you were talking about before the episode about the focus. How has your focus been changing through this beasting process or through the boot camp? Like, take us through the evolution, your evolution of like, you know, February boot camp was one of the most, I've done so many events with our students. That was such an incredible, you know, it was the warrior archetypes.
For
And
sure.
on into the next set of warrior, you know, creating the what is it? There was more creation out of the warrior archetypes was the second boot camp, and then there was hypnosis and mind control. Hypnosis and
Yes.
mind control part 2
Fuck,
that had the
man.
seduction of vanity in it, both
Wow.
and then it went into the Lion's Den boot camp in June and July, and then that's the philosophy of the beast.
Yes.
And
Powerful shit, man.
you know,
Fucking powerful shit, man.
yes. What's that been like for you? What's the train? What's going
Shit,
on?
man. Honestly, what I've noticed the most and that sticks out forefront is that the moment I truly committed to this art, when I truly committed, it was the split second I got the challenge of my old self, just as much. I noticed that I could only I can trick myself the best, and I noticed I've been handling that a lot more than prior to this beast philosophy.
Can I ask you? I want to ask you what
Yeah.
when you say truly committed, will you unpack that for me?
Yeah, truly committed. Meaning like minimizing excuses of the path. You know, I noticed that before.
Yeah.
I
Wow.
noticed that it was a lot of like being in neutral per se. The engine's revving, is going, but I'm not going nowhere. I'm not moving in results. I wasn't moving in results. And then that's when I fine-tuned my focus on the image of what I wanted to create, and in the belief and the beast philosophy just fucking put a rocket behind it.
So is that what it was to get results? Like you, you know, you know, so you were saying the fully committing or truly committing was minimizing excuses to the path, and that
100%.
you were working, but you know results weren't coming, and so you say you
Yeah.
fine-tuned the image that you were focusing on, your vision.
Yes. And with that, the ingredients was the discipline that we picked up, which was extreme because the other side is as extreme, if that makes sense. Meaning like when I fight that other side of me, it's extreme in my sense, because I'm coming from a path of not being as disciplined or not being disciplined. So
Man, I always saw you as like a disciplined guy because you were
well,
like, you always look clean cut. You were the military.
internally, like there's parts internally that I know I need to be more at, that I'm running from. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
And this beast philosophy has forced me to stick my face in and face it. You know what I'm saying? Every morning.
So, yeah, it seems like as you're talking, I see like cleaning out the fog, you know, getting clear, you know, removing negativity. What have been some of the biggest things that you've eradicated, or that you know, on this that you share? I mean, I'm sure I just had a fucking daunting, haunting thing that happened to me yesterday. It was fucking tremendous. I shared it in the lecture, but it's really private. I got triggered, hella triggered. But I know that I got triggered because of my discipline. Because I was, like you said, I faced something. You know, so along the path, I've had to face how much I'm creating negativity in my relationships. Like if I end up having a fight, I just more and more I'm seeing that, like, man, the result of something I said like 2 weeks ago or an hour ago or something. You know, my waking hour, I was just seeing how it just like it cascaded through my day. Like you know how I sometimes I even become aware now of like the first thing I say to myself when I wake up. Sometimes that fucks with my morning, and I'll catch it like when I'm whizzing in the bathroom, and I'm like, it's 5 minutes later. I slowly woke up, and I'm like, man, I've been bitching for 5 minutes. I'll catch it. I've been complaining for 5 minutes.
That's just and you know what, with me, it's so fucking mind blowing, because you see, when I was in the military, I remember when I was in basic training, I used to hate waking up at, it was 4:50 was wake up or 4 something. And I remember telling myself, oh man, I can't wait till I get out this shit and not have to wake up this early. And so now it's crazy how now I want to wake up that early. You know, back then I did it because you're told to do this at this time. Now it's a will that I'm exercising to want to do that now. And this is the part of that energy that inside of me that was I guess became purified really.
And it seems so simple because you say to somebody, I just wake up early. Like, what is it? What is it about, like, why do you want to? Like, and man, that's not really the question. It's like, it's not that why do you want to? It's like, what does this have to do with AZD and the Lion's Den and this, the most up-to-date, like, training, like the waking hour, you know, you already knew if you woke up earlier, you'd get more work done. I mean, everybody knows that. So it's
the power behind it now. Now there's a source of power that I'm seeing with this. It's not just waking up. It's the mindset of rising when you wake up. Wow. When I was speaking to Jordan the other day, I was like, yo, it's amazing how, you know, we literally get off we start our day from the ground. Like we literally start from the ground.
Dude, because of the ritual, because everybody, if you're listening to the recording, we sleep on the ground. That's what we're doing.
Yeah. So that just the mentality of knowing, like, when I face everybody, it's like, yo, I already started from the ground today. Like I can't, like, I don't know, like that power in that, and just the mindset of waking up and knowing that I'm about to conquer my day today, and putting out this energy that accumulates as we begin to start working out and stuff. It's that power behind it. It's the discipline that's attached to it. Before it was just like waking up mindlessly or just because whatever reason it was. Now it's like I wake up to earn my power. And that's what I want. You know what I'm saying?
How did you come to that? How did you, because now it's going to be like, well, Pyro, how do I find my power? I want to wake up for my power too. It's like, how did you, is this just the process of maturing or what happened?
Man, actually, I think that's what it was. It is a process of maturing. It's because I see how much more I get done in a day on top of that. So my excuse of why I didn't get something done in a day is literally because I didn't wake up early enough to get it done. And I'm once there's a truth like that, you can't get around it no more, or unless you're gonna beat yourself up more about it. And so if you want something bad enough, you know, I always ask myself, if I was willing to go through hell for X amount of time just to get what it is that I want, am I going to do it? So if I need to wake up early, if I need to wake up early for however long I need to wake up for the rest of my life to get what I truly want out of life, then fuck it, let's run it then. You know what I'm saying? That's always been my thing. So that's where my power is, as far as for them to find their power. What is it that you're willing to do, regardless of what it is, to get what you want?
Well, how did you get to that place though? Like you knew that you'd get more work. Like, how did you get so fed up, or, you know, you knew that you weren't going to get the results every time that you didn't get the results. You knew because you didn't wake up early enough and you weren't disciplined there. Like, what was the last straw for you, or what like pushed you over the edge to you know what I'm saying? Like, was it a slow transition, or what was, do you remember the transition? Like, how did you become, you know, with this kind of awareness?
Oh man,
At some point you weren't waking up. Was it just that you had like 50 or 60 brothers that you're all following the same teacher, and the teacher's like, hey, we're waking up now, this is what we're doing, and everybody's doing it, and you're like, oh shit, if I don't do it, I'm a pansy if I can't wake up because everybody else is doing it. And then, or was it that, or was it like
no, it was more of, man, how can I put it? There was just a time where, like I said, it was doing a lot of motion but not getting the results. That's I mean, that's the best way I can say it. Meaning, like, before, my intention maybe wasn't so clear. Maybe
like, when did you realize that? And I was like, and you were like, man, I'm just not getting the results. Was there a moment, or what happened?
Shit, man. That's a really good question, man. Now I really gotta see when it was, because I've been having my head down in my craft for so long that I don't really look up for results too much. I just, to be honest with you, I'm still practicing in my mind. I'm still practicing my craft, my videography. I just so happen to get paid for it while I'm practicing. So what I mean by the best way to answer that moment of transition will have to be when I'm seeing other videographers that's not as good as me getting better results. So I had a challenge. I had to be like, okay, why is it that I'm not getting it if I know I'm capable of getting those kind of results? So maybe it had to be towards the beginning of this year when I'm noticing I'm actually as good as I am, but I'm not believing I'm as good as I am because the discipline is not backing me up. Because once life comes and knocks you off your pivot, the discipline is what's going to help you get right back standing firm. And I didn't have that before.
And so, how did that start? Take us through that. We got like 10 minutes. How did your discipline? What started happening first? How did you start building up your discipline? And
the more I network with people, the more I network with people, the more I was in people's eye. The more I noticed that I was responsible for the perception that they have of me for the most part, as far as how I carry myself, how I deliver myself. That was the source of, okay, now I have to level up and become that greater version of myself that I always see myself and keep closing that gap. Every time I went outside.
I mean, like, what did you start implementing as far as like discipline? Like, how did you develop discipline from starting at zero like that? Or not that you were at zero, but like
sleeping on the ground. Sleeping on the ground.
Sleeping on the ground was the first thing, huh?
First thing. When the moment that I looked at my bed, not the same, like I really don't care if I sleep there right now. That was probably the moment I started noticing the transition of how I was thinking, for sure. The motion of clearing the space and putting down the blanket and all that right there. I enjoyed that moment right there. Like something about that moment right there, for sure. I think that's probably the spark, 100%. Yeah.
Wow. And then, well, all right. Well, what is there anything else that you would want the audience to know? There's a lot of people that may catch this recording. Get out to the IMC people. So if you're catching this, iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, you know what to do. Subscribe, and you can reach out to Master Pyro on Instagram, master_Pyro, and
Shit. Let's see.
What do people need to know? Let's say a majority of people, 80% of dedicated IMC people haven't taken a boot camp. Why not? Maybe they don't have the money. Maybe they're in a different country. I know a guy that makes $1.50 an hour. He's doing payments on the boot camp.
Wow.
That's the country he lives in.
Wow.
What's up? So, what is it? Maybe they're just not like. What's your experience? You met Jordan Damari. And I. Have you met any other IMC Nation guys?
No, you two have been the only ones. But that experience it's identical as far as the connection, the values that we share.
You hear that, Jordan? Oh, you mean you and him? I thought you meant me and him. I was like, Jordan, we're like brothers.
Yeah. Well, when I met you and when I met him, it was the energy was so mutual between everybody, as far as how I met both of you guys. So that was a doping experience within itself, for sure, man. Just being able to meet somebody that you haven't physically met and to meet them in person and feel like you've known them for so long is an experience that's almost unexplainable. You gotta experience it to know what I'm talking about, type of thing.
Man, it's really cool because it rips you out of your personal drama, because you see this other person and you experience them and they have these core values that we're learning, that it just kind of breaks through the mundane. And then what's really cool is that as you get higher level, and that's what everybody here is taking a boot camp. Kenjo is new, but Kenjo's been on Lions Den for a while. Mr. Neil Carey's been around a while, and everybody else boot camp guys. And so not only does that happen, but then you start running into each other's imaginations. You start running into each other's like creations, and it's interesting. Yeah. Everybody's got a different language.
Which I'm looking forward to do, man. I'm honestly looking forward to create with every brother of mine, man, for real. Like anything that whatever field they're in, like I'm so looking forward to creating content with everybody, man. It's gonna be amazing.
Man, I know what you mean. That's what I'm doing with the podcast. Like
Yeah,
I have a podcast episode with like 20 or 25 or I don't know how many like boot camp guys.
yeah,
It's just so cool. This is like, it's really a dream come true because I'm like communicating with IMC Nation. I've created an ecosystem of
yeah,
IMC
man.
Nation around myself.
Yeah.
That's
And
super cool.
you've been doing a great job, man, for sure. Like the way how you handle everything and make the connections and you know, explaining things and all that. It's been phenomenal, man. So
Thank you.
definitely big ups to you for doing that and connecting everything that you do, man, for sure.
Oh yeah, it's my pleasure. Uh, and it's been humbling. It's been a humbling journey because I come across really strong guys that
Mm.
the thing that I pride myself on, that I seduce women with, that value that I hold so precious. You know what it feels like? This is going to be kind of weird. Let me just say this is kind of an analogy. It kind of feels like I felt this first with the guy Yuri. Um, is I felt like a multiple girlfriend of my teacher kind of thing. Not
Okay.
romantically like that, but I felt the jealousy of that other guy because he won the favor of my teacher. He just showed up. What the fuck? Just because he was in his temple for 4 months
Yeah,
and the guy,
yeah.
whatever. He's out of the picture now, whatever. But you know what I did is I got jealous for like half a day.
Mm.
Then I realized that, man, this is what Angelica's going through when new girls come on the scene, and you're just gonna like that other girl more. And I was like, okay, here's the thing to do. Instead of destroy, I should just outcreate. And so I invited the guy to
Mm.
co-host a podcast with me, and we made like 80 episodes together. And
Wow.
then you know,
And that's the power of transmuting, man. Knowing how to turn energy around like that in your life, man. It's crazy, man. It's such a dope thing. I love it. I fucking love it.
man, I want to tell you guys about what happened with this is going to get off the subject of Pyro. Uh, So I won't do it. I'll do it on Science of Spiritual Growth tomorrow, Fernando. Remind me if you want. I want to tell you this thing because it's so powerful. If you guys want to show up, it was anyway. So it'll be the same link tomorrow. So let's see. I think that's about it. And Lions Den lectures coming up. So
Okay.
you let's see. Where do we go with this? Does any audience got anything? You could unmute if you've been to a boot camp. Unmute. Anybody type. I'll check Facebook if there's any questions. And let's see here. Oh man, too many Facebook messages. Cool. I'd love to shoot. Okay, I got a girl.
Okay,
Yeah.
there's a question. There's a question here
Oh
I
yeah.
can answer.
Uh-huh.
Jordan asked, you once said you slept on the ground in the military. What's the difference now? Okay, so I think the reason why I like that motion, like I explained earlier about sleeping on the ground, is because the first time I slept in the military, I didn't sleep on the ground. I literally slept in the ground. So there's this thing that in the military is called a foxhole, which basically you dig a hole that's about the same height as you, that only your eyes are above the ground. And you sleep in that hole for 24 hours. This is like when you're in war, you're in any kind of situation like that. So you make a foxhole, and that night, for 2 nights, I had to sleep in that hole. So sleeping on the ground wasn't, every time I slept on the ground like that, I never cared where I slept after that. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's why I embraced this sleeping on the ground thing so good. Cause I remember that feeling I had when I slept in the ground, literally like maybe like 5 feet in the ground. So that's probably the difference, is that I was able to embrace it more. And the difference was I was in the ground, it's actually physically in the ground.
Seriously. Wow.
Yeah.
Uh, Man, I could just keep going. There was a book I read. It was called Illusions. I think the book was called Illusions. And the guy in it, he was like a mystical guy, master, whatever. And he could walk through like the ground. He could just like go into the quantum. His atoms would like come, and he would just
Wow.
absorb instant and just walk through it. And he tried to show his disciple or whatever. And what happened is his disciple did it, but then he started doubting it when he was halfway into the ground, and he got like frozen into the ground. So he like became part
Oh
of the,
shit.
you know what I'm saying? Uh, I don't know why that just came to me, but like as you were buried in the ground, it's like you're part of Earth.
Oh yeah, for sure. That energy that I felt waking up was so a moment I'll definitely not forget. 'Cause it was in North Carolina, so, and it was around November time, so the fall, In the morning, it has like that thick fog layer that being like by the ground when you wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning. So just that vibe of waking up from the ground and seeing that in the middle of nowhere, it's just forest. You don't, if you don't have your compass and your map and all that shit, you don't know where the fuck you at. So it's literally middle of nowhere. And I remember just waking up from that and seeing that shit. That's a moment I'll never forget. So I always loved that. I always cherish that experience because I know not too many people have done some crazy shit.
No, man, that's a sight. That's a vision that's burned in your mind. That's in so few minds. That's so cool, and you'll be reacting to that vision forever. So you like karma. You just give it to us all like that.
Yeah.
And that's so cool. I want to say at this next boot camp, AZD just told us this morning. On the last day, there's going to be a really early morning lecture. It's going to be at like 4:45, I think, or 5. Like 5 a.m. It's going to be like a 45 or 60-minute lecture at 5 a.m. right before Easter. Man,
wow.
On the last day. And so yeah, it's going to be a really tight event.
Man.
And Mr. Neil Care, we'll get the last question in. Was Mr. Neil Care says, basically his question is, how does the thought of yourself change after the boot camp as opposed to before? He says, what is the highest thought of yourself? I don't know how you want to interpret that, but how does your highest thought of yourself change from before and after? If you want to just select a boot camp like the last one, or how do you want to answer that?
I think it'll have to be the archetype, which is pretty much the start of it all. The archetype 100% changed my self-image on levels I couldn't imagine. Because at that point I was able to function.
You mean the February boot camp, like the warrior archetype one?
Yeah, I think it was the March one. I think it was March.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, archetype. I believe March was it was archetype, and in April following that was the hypnosis, which was amazing because now after I got the outer or the movement, now it was the words that I got right after. So I will say that my image and my communication level just spiked through the roof after those two pillars. Because before, like I said, there was time when I was in rooms and networking. I remember saying like I'm the certain kind of videographer or certain kind of persona. And I remember actually going through that in my mind and actually adjusting my movement and how I talked, how I lead, all that. And then when I got to communication, to be able to calculate and calibrate on different levels of moments when I over say something or not say something enough, and learn how to calibrate and fix that little whatever that is, I'm able to do that more. And that's why my results has been so much more better. So definitely those two boot camps, 100%.
Man, that's cool because it's like when you see a meal and you don't know the ingredients, or like you see some soup and you're like, what is the ingredients to this? And it's like, you just gave me the ingredients to like this transformation I've been seeing in you.
Oh man.
So that was cool.
Great.
All right. Well, thanks for showing up, Pyro. We'll definitely have you back.
Of course.
You guys know where to find him. And yeah, it's been a pleasure. Well, I'm like choking myself over here. And that's all, man. I'm sorry we got to go, but we got our lecture to go on now. So we'll
Yes, sir. Brother. All right, man. Thanks for having me. Salute.